Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. This is your non-spoiler movie review for Avengers Endgame. We do have a spoiler movie review. Please subscribe. This is Joel and Mike Massey from Gone with the Twins. This is going to be a quick video, complete non-spoiler for Avengers Endgame.
Thanks so much for having us back. Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking me. Incredible. What did you guys think? From I really want your opinion.
For starters, this is going to be a very difficult one to do, right? Because 99% of the movie is spoilers, right? So to try to get around that, it's going to be difficult. And we all know, obviously, it's not a spoiler to say how Infinity War ended, because you wouldn't be watching this unless you already knew how Infinity War ended. But so you've got half the population is gone. So at this point, you got just a few Avengers trying to pick up the pieces and try to figure out how to live life without all the rest of the Avengers and half the population. So, and for those who have seen Captain Marvel, you know that Captain Marvel has a role in this. She's being summoned by the pager at the end of that film. So she comes back, and so she's got a plan now to try to help them. And well, I don't even know what else can we say. Right?
Let's just look at it this way. Look, it's a completion of Infinity War. They do a good job of it, and it completes a lot of holes and different things from the last 10 years from all the Marvel movies. You see a lot of people that you haven't that were gone. Different things happen with. You're right. It's almost impossible. Let's talk about the movie itself. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's the best thing I've ever seen.
So, as a lot of people are probably familiar, this is a 3-hour movie.
Yeah,
right? I think it runs 3 hours and a couple of minutes. Right. So, they're trying to finish off all the loose storylines. So not just figuring out how to undo what Thanos did with his snap at the end of Infinity War. They're also tying together little loose ends from all the other previous movies. So
yeah, it's great.
And it's interesting because you finally get closure on a lot of things that even things you weren't expecting. There's a lot of pleasant little moments where characters get to reunite and things that you're like, oh, okay, was it necessary? I don't know, but it creates sort of a pleasant sort of a conclusion to everything.
Even at 3 hours, I felt like the pacing was pretty tight. One of the things I liked is that it's not just battle, or there's a lot of planning and everything that goes into how exactly do we stop Thanos? How exactly do we undo what he's done? And without explaining,
and it'll be interesting to see how audiences.
It's well thought out, I thought.
It'll be interesting to see how audiences react to this because. On a 3-hour movie, you're looking at the first hour and a half. There's not a lot of action going on. It's a lot of characters trying to figure out what to do. So it's debatable what fans are gonna love this movie anyway. I think people who are not fans of the series might grow a little bit antsy, right? Because things don't move along quite as speedily. When you reach the second half of the film and you start getting all of these climactic battles, that's when things really pick up. That's where you lose track of time, right? Because even though there's repetition. A lot of the battles.
For me, I prefer all of the setup as opposed to because the battles are very repetitious. But for me,
as we critiqued in Infinity War, you've got a lot of characters who are virtually invincible fighting each other.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of possibilities. So in this film, again, when you get those various showdowns between different characters, to some degree, it's drawn out. Yeah. It's exciting, no doubt, and it's interesting to see the special effects and the just the way they've orchestrated and choreographed these fights. But in the same vein, it's also nobody's going to get an arm or a leg chopped off, or a head chopped off. You're not going to see those kinds of things in a battle between invincible entities. Yeah. So it's a little bit of repetition there. But again, I think for me, what's most interesting is seeing the characters engaging in these climactic battles. The characters you want to see getting.
Everybody gets to make a grand entrance.
Right.
That's always fun to see. So especially characters that maybe you forgot about and
and I think one of the things that they did, which will be quite amusing to fans, is. Obviously Thanos is the villain in this movie. A lot of people get a bit of FaceTime showdown kind of thing with Thanos, and I think that's what a lot of people want to see.
Yeah, we all love him.
And in Infinity War, you got to see that too. You got to see a lot of characters do battle, but here they give you a little bit of that. Maybe again, maybe a little repetition.
But it's some of your favorite heroes. Battle Thanos one-on-one.
What's interesting is in Infinity War, it's so shocking. It's such a great movie because everyone dies and the bad guy wins. And in this movie, of course, it's the Avengers. That's what they do, So to see all that together and completion of all the other movies, it's very well done.
For me, I think almost everybody kind of knows how the movie will end, but I think the journey there's a lot of unpredictable things. Like a lot of little pieces here and there I didn't see coming, and I found that very entertaining. You know, especially, you know, knowing what happens in Infinity War and how can they stop Thanos? How can they undo it? There's only so many maybe possibilities of how it'll turn out, but that journey along the way, I think.
Yeah, well, and to go along with you saying, you know, a bit of that unpredictability. In my mind, after seeing Infinity War, I thought, well, come on, guys, the Time Stone is clearly the only important one. Why don't you just get that one? Forget all the rest of them. The Time Stone, because you can just go back in time, keep redoing things. The nice thing about this movie is they don't take that really easy way out. It's not so simple. You can't just go get the Time Stone and redo things, try again, which is brilliant, right? Because for anybody fearing that it'll be an easy thing, no, this is 3 hours long. They're going to struggle all the way through to do this. So it's not so simple as there's not this very obvious easy way out.
Let me ask you this. For closure purposes, did this movie close the door and fix everything they built for the last 10, 11 years, all the movies, Avengers related? How do you think they did on completing this masterpiece?
In a large way, this feels finite, right? Yeah. Obviously, there's going to be, you know, another Guardians of the Galaxy. There's going to be a lot of these characters, Captain Marvel, I think, too. A lot of them are getting sequels, spin-offs, standalones, whatever. So there's obviously more stories to tell. But I think when you reach the end of this movie, you could be done. You could never watch a Marvel movie again and say, well, I know what happened. You know, I'm finished.
It's a strange cycle because
it's a storyline.
For the last, you know, 20-some movies, they've been culminating to bringing all the characters together. And now when you reach this, now everybody can go their separate ways. And now it almost feels like it's going to have to start that cycle over again, right? Yeah. That they all go their separate ways, and maybe down the road and a few 20 movies later, they'll all have to come back together to fight something.
That's what's so great about comic book storytelling, though, is that you'll have major events every couple of years where they all come together, and that's what this whole thing was. But it's 10 years of movie making, which is incredible.
As you mentioned with this question, I mean, since this is an Avengers movie, you've got all the Avengers together. I think in a large way, because this finishes so completely, now we've got time to do individual movies. And then at a certain point, after these individual movies start building up new enemies, new plot lines and whatnot, then you can have another Avengers movie. But I feel like we don't need another Avengers movie for quite some time.
No, you could tell, and this isn't a spoiler at all, might be the end of the Avengers storyline for quite some time. Yeah. A lot of the intricate pieces, you know, they're retiring, their contracts are up, stuff like that. But they have used it in a way to put new teams together, as best I can say. And we're going to see more. It's going to be
I got a question for you, Bill. Who's your favorite Avenger?
I love the Hulk.
How you like the Hulk?
I love them. I mean, you know what? What's very interesting to me is through the last 10 years, I have, and I love a lot of characters, okay? But I have grown to love them all more. Like Thor. I admit I wasn't a huge Thor fan initially, but the movie has drawn me into the comic more, and he's done such a well job with the character. I really love Thor now. I love them all. Guardians, everybody. Well, they've done such a great job to introduce this to the world, and I don't think people realize that it truly affects not only the movie industry, of course it's dominating, the comic book market.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
it's going to continue it.
So many of these characters, especially I would think Guardians, right, is something that maybe there weren't a lot of fans to begin with. And because of the movies, now you've got a much larger group of people who are interested in that comic book storyline and those worlds, right?
Characters.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, we can't really talk much about it more than that. If you like this channel, please sub. I would really love if you guys checked out GoneWithTheTwins.com. Joel and Mike Massey, they have great reviews. And that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I'm going to go see it again. I can tell you that. I give it a 10 out of 10 because it's over. And they did a very good job. And if you want to see their score, check them out at GoneWithTheTwins.com. Thank you guys so much for taking me. And it was great. Have a great one, guys. Bye-bye.